We're taking things back to basics with our beginner swim series, and having already covered water confidence, the arm pull and the leg kick, it's time to add in the rather essential element of breathing. Now, as important as it is, we haven't addressed it yet because you need to make sure you've mastered the arm pull and the leg kick before you can add in this final piece of the front crawl puzzle. If you haven't already seen the first 3 of our videos in this beginner swim series, I would suggest revisiting them, as you need to make sure you've mastered those elements before you reach this stage, which in theory is really the icing on the cake of swimming front crawl. But before we crack on, just a really quick reminder to click on the globe and the bell icon, then you will get all of our GTN videos notified to you. And while you're there, why not give us a like? Before we look at how to integrate breathing into your stroke, I want to revisit purely exhalation that we looked at in the first video, as being able to master exhalation will actually help you with your inhalation. And you're probably asking why, but being able to breathe out fully is going to help you to learn to relax your face, relax your body, but also empty your lungs enough so that when you do go to turn your head when swimming front crawl, you can take on a full new lungful of air and get the most out of all of that oxygen. So we're just going to start by going back to those sink downs. So taking a nice deep breath, curling yourself up into a small ball and breathing slowly out of your lungs until your lungs are empty, and you should find you sink down to the bottom, and simply once you're empty of all that air, you just pop back up to the top and take another breath. Equally, you can do it holding on to the side of the wall or just floating with your face in the water and just breathing out all of those bubbles continuously. And you can breathe out through your mouth or your nose, but I would just say that as you start to swim harder and faster, it's more efficient to exhale through your mouth and obviously inhale through your mouth as well, but play around with what works for you. And another return to something you're going to be familiar with, hold onto the wall, push off the ground to get your legs and your body horizontal, and then adding in the kick so that you keep your legs close to the surface. Now here, your head should be in the water to help with that body position. And you're going to simply breathe out until your lungs are empty, and then turn your head to one side to take an in-breath before returning to that starting position. Now, it will actually be quite a lot to think about, and your natural reaction is going to be to lift your head up in front of you to get the air in, but this is going to have the automatic reaction of making your legs and your body sink, because your body has that seesaw action. So you want to really focus on turning your head purely to the side, and only enough that you need to be able to get the air in. I know your arm is going to be there at the moment in the way, but this is just going to start to ingrain those initial principles of turning your head for breathing. Well, it's time to start to put this into motion, and I would suggest using fins, as it's just going to give you one less thing to think about and a little bit more natural propulsion. So to start with, it is going to be leg kick only, forgetting the arms for the moment, but adding in breathing here. And you've got 2 options. I want you to try both and have a play around, but we're going to start with the easiest option, so using the kickboard. Well, you know how to kick with a board, and you now know how to turn your head to the side. So it's time to do what you did on the wall whilst moving down the length. So focus on keeping your body level in the water. Think of your chin staying close in and not lifting your head up. And if you're confident, the next step is to take one hand off the kickboard and just simply rest it by your hip. This is the side which you're going to breathe towards. And this just gives you more space to turn towards, and as a result, it will feel easier to get that air into your lungs. So try breathing in and out with the rotation of your head for a whole length, and then swap sides and repeat back the other way. And if you're flying through this, then ditch the kickboard, keep your fins on. You're simply going to push off the wall and keep one arm extended out in front, and the other one you're going to pull down towards your hip. And that will be the side that you breathe on. So you're basically replicating what you did with the kickboard, but in a more realistic body position, because you're going to be closer to swimming front crawl here. And then while still kicking your legs only, with your arms still, you're going to rotate your head and a little bit of body rotation with that, if you can manage that. So breathe to the side and putting your face back in again as you breathe out, and continue to do that all the way down the length, swapping again to the other side. For a moment, we're going to take a break from pure breathing and concentrate more on rotation. And this might sound a little confusing, but actually rotation can seriously help with the breathing. So as you're starting to do a bit more front course swimming, hopefully you're getting more relaxed, you'll notice that your body is naturally moving or naturally rotating side to side, and this can seriously make breathing that much easier. So for this, if you've taken the fins off, pop them back on because it's going to help. We are going to be focusing purely on the body movement just for a moment. Well, the easiest way to practice this is back into that Superman position that we had a moment ago, starting off with your body flat in the water, kicking your legs, rotating your whole body towards the open side, so the side where your hand's down by your hip, until you're at a 90-degree angle. Now note, this is more than you're going to need when you put the stroke back together, but it exaggerates the movement on purpose. So when your body is turned, your mouth should naturally be out of the water, so time your breathing with the body movement. A simple progression on from the rotation is adding in just one arm. And the timing could sound complicated, so I'm going to actually ask that you just try it first without thinking, as the natural rotation you'll feel as you pull with a single arm will cause your body to rotate, and you might even feel the right time to breathe purely from just doing this action. It's up to you how you choose to do single arm. Now, kickboard is the most obvious and the easiest, but just be aware it will naturally limit the amount of rotation you're going to get with your stroke, and it can even encourage you to have your head higher than it should be. So if you're strong enough and you've still got your fins on, then I would suggest doing it without. You're going to start obviously pushing off the wall with both hands, but then keeping one arm extended, and you're going to use the other arm to do the swimming, and that should naturally make that breathing a bit more easier as well. I probably need to address the when in this sequence because there is quite a lot going on and a lot to think about. Basically, as you get towards the end part of your pull, your body is naturally going to rotate towards that arm, and then as your arm recovers over the surface, this is your opportunity to breathe. It's almost as though you're breathing under your elbow or into your armpit, and your head should then return to the water before the recovery phase is complete. You will find that as your hand gets close to entering the water, your body is naturally going to rotate back to that neutral position and then beyond to the other side. And these movements are fairly subtle and will become smoother with practice. I would say that if you followed all these steps so far, the full stroke should now naturally make sense when you put it back together with the breathing. And the best part is you've got the option of breathing on either side. So have an experiment, play around. You might find that one side's more natural than the other. And you can even just take the breathing back out for a moment and pop a snorkel on, and then just work on feeling that rotation of your stroke without having to concentrate about timing the breathing in. There are many more steps to refining your breathing, but I think we've given you enough points to work on today without bombarding you. So go back through this, really try and finesse each point before you rush through this, and then you'll naturally find that when you put the full stroke back together, that will progress so much more quickly as well. But talking of wanting more steps, that actually brings us to the end of this beginner swim series. If you are wanting to look at any of these areas in more depth, then we've got a lot of beginner swim videos looking at different aspects of the freestyle stroke solely, so go and check those out. And if you haven't yet done so, subscribe so you'll get all of those videos as they come out in the future. But good luck with your swimming journey. I personally would love to know how you're getting on. If you are new to swimming as an adult, teenager, child, whatever age you are, it's still a pretty daunting prospect, but it will be something so worthwhile doing. So stick at it, and yeah, good luck guys. Give us a like.